Hey to the most amazing nurses. It is Dr. V here with Morning Infusion with Dr. V podcast, where we are intentional about teaching nurses how to work from anywhere around the world, making money and owning your own time, building profitable nurse coaching and consulting businesses. You will hear from amazing guests that have grown their companies and want to share insight into how you can do the same to change the face of healthcare as we know it. If you want to grow your businesses and leverage your knowledge as a nurse to grow wildly successful businesses at the top, instead of working your way to the top, head on over and join our Millionaire Nurse CEO group on Facebook, where you can ask questions and get updates on our live and virtual events to help you grow your businesses. Hey. So everybody come on in. We're going to be talking about marketing today, okay? Because marketing, one of the things that we have found out as a general rule, marketing is one of the things that crashes most businesses. And the reason why it crashes most businesses is because of the fact that people don't really want to market. But what you have to understand, and so the reason why I'm looking down, for the people who are, because we're going live on multiple platforms. And so one of the things that you want to know, you don't want your business to crash because your marketing is not on point, right? And so like if you have whatever kind of business you have, whether you like, we do nurse coaching, right? Nurse coaching specific, right? But this is the deal. Whatever kind of business you have, whatever it is, if you don't market that business, then that business will likely fail. So you want to ensure that you are marketing your business. And so, it's cool, right? That you have this craft. Like for example, if you know how to cook cakes, right? And you have this craft and it's amazing. But if you don't know how to market that thing, then you won't get what you need. And a lot of times what happens is people don't market is because they think that they will get too big and they'll get so big that they can't fulfill the order. But the reality is that you need to market in order to have that return on investment. So I'm going to give you, and it's going to be a mnemonic on marketing. Now, this is what I ask of you, okay? Because it's going to be valuable information. I ask that you like, that you share, that you comment, on the video. That's what I ask you to do, if you can, for me, please. Okay, so that we can get the word out. So as most of you know, my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I am a nurse coach, #1 nurse coach for nurse coaches and consultants. So I teach nurses how to work from their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning their own time, building profitable nurse coaching and consulting businesses. All right. So I'm just going to give you the mnemonic. Okay. Again, like and share. Now, if you want to sign up with me on a we have a free breakthrough strategy call. It's in the copy. So sign up with me so that you can talk to me and we can get you, sort of where you need to be as it relates to nurse coaching and consulting, because that's what we do. All right. So now, marketing. So in the mnemonic, the M is for market research, right? So whenever you're doing your market research, one of the things that you want to ensure is that you are understanding the psychographic of the person that you are marketing to, right? So psychographic for different people are different things, right? For example, for nurses, you have a certain psychographic, like there's personalities. I imagine that like ICU nurses, for example, ICU nurses are more laid back. They're more, tidy, put the thing together, right? However, ER nurses are more, go get it, chaotic type of, erratic type of personality types, right? And so you want to ensure that you understand the personality type of the person that you are speaking to. And it really doesn't matter either way. There is what's called the DISC assessment. Now, the DISC assessment helps you to also understand the psychographics of your client, right? So the DISC assessment D, which is dominant. So typically your D is your client that is pretty outgoing, right? So the D's and the I's are outgoing. D's, they're gonna get it done, but they're gonna think that their way is the right way. Whereas I's, they're more the life of the party, and you can, because you know who you are, right? The life of the party. They're the ones that say, but sometimes it's hard for them to put things together. Your S's are the ones that say, your S's are the ones who care about other people to a fault, right? But they care, right? And then C's are the ones who they want everything to be absolutely perfect, right? And so you have to watch out for C's because sometimes they won't launch, and you want to make sure that you are helping them to launch. And so again, I ask that you like and share this live. Again, their lifestyle, the social class, their habits, their behaviors, and their interests. You want to be able to understand all those things when it comes to how to market to your clientele. Now, demographics. Now, are they online or are they not? Now, if you are, like, for example, I have a niece who she has a home healthcare business, right? So most of her clients are not online. But then there's some of her clients, quote unquote, that are online. So the children of the clients may be online. So she has to do dual, right? So she has to do dual marketing, where as she sends information out to the homes, she does word of mouth marketing, and she also does online marketing, right? So it has to be dual. And there's a way in which you can go to you can actually go to the US Post Office website, and you can ask for a certain demographic of area, and then they'll send you, you can mail mailers out to that certain demographic of area, right? Because you want to make sure that you're getting people that are close to you, and you want to make sure that you're getting the biggest bang for your buck. Now, you also want to ensure that you understand market trends. Now, how many of you know about Toys R Us, right? So you remember when everybody started going online, and what happened was Toys R Us didn't go online because they didn't understand the market trends. They didn't understand where the market was going. Or maybe they did understand, and they just wanted to be stubborn and didn't do online sales as a result. And what happened was Toys R Us, they bit the dust, right? They didn't survive. But it was because they didn't have that online presence. And so you want to absolutely have an online presence in order to be able to get to where you need to be. Now, the A in marketing is advertising. Now you want to tailor your content to whatever your specific interest is. So, of course, we over here, we're nurses, right? So, anything that's medical, anything that we can talk about as it relates to the hospital, or anything that we can talk about as it relates to helping people get from one space to another space via coaching and consulting, because we're the largest force in healthcare. Okay. So we're able to change the face of healthcare as we know it. And so one of the things that you want to make sure that you're doing is you want to make sure that you are understanding the specific interest of your target market. Like farmers, they would do something different. People who are bakers, for example, people who have food, so they do something different. So you want to make sure that you're tailoring it to those people, right? Now, you want to employ a multi-channel approach, right? So you want to engage in online and offline, and then analyze the effectiveness. One of the things that I don't think that a lot of people do is that they don't understand how to understand the metrics of your KPIs, like how many people are commenting, how many people are liking, analyzing those things that for you to be able to move forward. Because based off of what you put out there, then what actually, like, if you get a bunch of likes and a bunch of shares, then you understand that that's something that people want. If you don't, then what happens is that's not something that people want, right? And so if you like all this information that I'm giving, then I suggest that you like and share it. But I also suggest that you come in and ask me questions about marketing, right? But see, what happens is people won't, there are times when we won't go out because we're like, well, they don't like that, they don't want that. And so I have a friend that she just did a whole master class on AI, and one of the things that she talked about was the fact that in the master class, she said that what she was going to do from now on, if she's just going to put the information out there, right? And when she put the information out there, then she would see whether people liked it or not. She wasn't going to be scared, because a lot of times we think that we're going to fail, and so we don't put the things out there. We think that we're going to fail, and so we stop. I can tell what you're thinking based off of what you do, right? And so your thoughts determine your actions, which determines your life. So if you want to have an amazing life, then you want to make sure that you are putting the thing out there and putting it out there to the market for them to analyze, for them to tell you whether they like it. Next, relationship building. Answer your DMs. Don't let folks go weeks and years without you answering your DMs. Okay. All right. Answer your DMs. Now, also provide positive feedback within your groups. Like if you have a online community, provide positive feedback. Provide positive feedback for anything that you put up, right? And sometimes it can be hard, right? Because all them birthday posts on Facebook. How many of you actually respond to all the birthday posts? There are a lot of them, right? So it's hard to really respond to all those, right? And especially if you have something going on and it gets a lot of likes, then you have to respond in general sometimes, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing that. You also, relationship building, especially in your coaching program, is you want to incentivize completion of assignments, right? The feedback loop, right? So I just give an example. So one of the reasons why I exercise, and I exercise all the time, is because it gives me endorphins. I would not exercise. Let's be very clear on this. I would not exercise if I didn't get the endorphins, right? I wouldn't do it, but I get endorphins. And so that's the reason why I go back and exercise the next day. If I feel horrible, then I wouldn't do it, right? And so that's the same thing that you want to think about as it relates to your customer journey. You want your customer to be satisfied so that they can continue to come back and continue to purchase from you. Um, like for example, in group coaching, you can provide a lot of, not a lot, but you can provide one-on-one sessions with the clients, and that provides them with what they need. Incentivize them other ways as well. Incentivize them as they complete their stuff. Now, the K in marketing is key messaging. You want to make sure that you have key messaging. So like for us, we teach nurses how to work from their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning their own time. It is on our website. It is on, not just on our website, it is on our Facebook group. It is everywhere. So you know exactly what we do, building profitable nurse coaching and consulting businesses, because we're nurses, right? And so that's one of the things that we do. Now, you want to have consistency of that key message across all platforms, right? All communication. So if you're sending out mail in the mail, you want to make sure that you have that consistent communication. Don't confuse the audience. Now, I want you to drop a K in the chat for key messaging, because your key messaging is huge. Drop a K in the chat so that we can hear you come up. Now, don't confuse your audience, because what happens is when you say one thing and then you say another thing over here, like over here, I'm a nurse coach. Well, over here, I'm a home health nurse. I'm a coach for coaches. Over here, I teach home health. Well, that's confusing your audience, right? And so you don't want to confuse your audience. So drop in the chat. Don't confuse me. All right, just drop it in the chat. Now, another thing is that you want to tailor it to address the pain points or the aspirations, right? And so you're good. Like if you address the pain points, that's one thing, right? So the pain points pulls them away. And a lot of people don't understand this, but you are either pulling them away, all right? K, hey, SMR BK148. Yeah, listen, the key messaging, this the whole thing, ain't it? So you also want to address the pain points, because pain points pull them away from where they are currently. And then you want to take them to where they want to be, their desired outcome, right? And so a lot of people talk about the in between, but the in between doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, if you want to get to that desired outcome, you'll get to that desired outcome, okay? Their dream life. Now, E. Now, I want you to drop an E in the chat for engagement tactics, all right? So you want to have interactive comments. So content. So one of the things that you can do is you can do polls and quizzes and surveys, all right, for your interaction. You want to foster community engagement through your lives and through your events, right? So we have a master class that we do. And so in the master class, like we teach different things in the master class, right? And so you want to foster that. On these lives, we teach different things, right? So you want to foster that. So in the online and otherwise, like whenever you're in a specific space, like for example, if you're speaking in front of an audience, you want to be able to have engaging content. So I want to drop engaging in the comments. Now, leverage storytelling. All right. So let me tell you the story of John the Baptist. John the Baptist. And this is probably one of my favorite stories, because I used to always wonder whether your purpose was actually like you had your purpose whenever you were born, right? So because I've worked in the emergency department, one of the things that I really do believe is that your time of your life and your time of your death is already determined by you, for you, okay? Because let me tell you something. I have seen folks like this child. So let me tell you about this one kid that came in. So he came in and he was on a motorcycle, and there was a car in front of him, right? And so he didn't have no ain't had no license, tearing my nerves up, okay? So the car was in front of him. He was coming up behind the car, but he was coming up really fast behind the car. So um instead of him stopping, he said that he was going to pass the car. Well, the car got ready to turn, and when the car got ready to turn, he flipped over the car and flew 120 feet. All right. Now, when he got into the emergency department, his head was mush. Okay. And he was very confused. And I thought, this dude is not going to live. Now, we intubated him to save his airway, to protect his airway, because we wanted to make sure that he was good. But what happened was this dude actually walked out of the hospital a week later. I was like, listen, that was the Lord right there. He didn't decide that he's just not, he ain't ready to go. He ain't ready to go. Okay. And so what happened was he actually ended up living. So that's one of the things that I do believe. But another thing that I was very, very just kind of just didn't know was whether our purpose was defined for us at birth. So this story really helped me to know that our purpose is already designed when we are born. We just have to figure out what that purpose is. Um, so whenever Elizabeth, okay, who was pregnant with John the Baptist, met with her cousin Mary, who was pregnant with Jesus, who was just a zygote at the time, and my pastor told this story, and it really helped me to understand it. So Jesus, John the Baptist, when Mary walked in, like John the Baptist jumped in Elizabeth's stomach, right? Because he knew that he was the Messiah, right? And so the reality is that that let me know that our purpose is already designed for us from the very beginning. And what happens a lot of times, like I have this story that I tell when you are there was this guy, he went to heaven, and when he went to heaven, he went to the, around the many mansions with the many rooms and all of that. So he had a gift. And so he loved Christmas whenever he was on the earth, right? And so whenever he died, he went into this room, and there was a bunch of gifts in this room. So Gabriel was the one who was really, leading him around. And the guy said, I want to go in that room with all those gifts. And the guy said, no. Gabriel was like, no, you don't want to go in there, bro. He was like, yes, I do. I want to go in that room. He was like, nah, you don't want to go in there. And so he said, yes, I do. He was very persistent. And because he was very persistent, Gabriel let him go in that room. And so he went into the room. He found the gift that had his name on it. And because he found the gift that had his name on it, he realized that that was the gift that he should have been using on earth this whole time. So I want you to drop a gift, like drop a G in the chat for gift. Because each one of you have a gift, has a gift. Each one of you has a purpose. And when you learn what that purpose is, it'll make you a lot of money. Okay. So engagement tactics. So testimonial based, you want to gather and showcase authentic customer testimonials, right? So every time you do anything, you want to make sure that you have your customer testimonials. So we have our website, right? Our website is up. It's V as in Victor, P as in Paul, nursing.com, right? And so when you go to our website, you have a whole list of testimonials from our clients, right? Because we want to show you how our clients are doing. You want to create case studies and success stories and encourage customers to share the testimonials on their sites, right? So again, I want you to drop an I in the chat for integrated campaigns. So you want to coordinate your messaging and your visuals. Because what happens a lot of times is that you have great messaging, but your visuals may not be necessarily there. So I want you to drop an I in the chat for integrated campaigns. Now, you want to make sure that you have great visuals. Now, you can go on places like Fiverr and you can get them to do your visuals, right? So that they're more engaging, so that people, they are, they're more engaging so that people will stop the scroll, because that's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to get them to stop the scroll. You want to ensure that you have it on various marketing channels. So right here on Instagram Live, I have a white background, right? But see, I'm live on StreamYard on other platforms, and so I have my logos. I have all the logos that I need to have. Like we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're on LinkedIn, right? And so across there, I have all my logos. It's just StreamYard doesn't play well up here with my computer, okay? Maybe not with other people's computer, but on my computer with Instagram. And so what happens is you can't hear the sound very well. So that's the reason why I'm going live on my phone. So anyway, so you want to make sure that your brand colors are there. So typically my brand colors are either black, white, or pink. That's my brand colors on a typical basis. That's typically what you're going to see me wear. So, and you want to make sure that you have a seamless customer journey, right? So you want to test out your customer journey. So you want to walk it through, right? So a lot of people don't walk it through, and you want to make sure that whenever you put up links, you want to walk through that link to see what your customer journey is like. You don't want them to have to come back and try to get something, because then they may never come back. So I want you to drop in the chat, seamless. Now, niche positioning. This right here is something that a lot of people struggle with. All right. It's probably the biggest thing, because what happens is some people don't think that they need to niche down. Hey, Tracy, the investor, they don't think that they need to niche down. You have to niche down in order to get to your target market. You have to know who you're serving. And there was this lady she was a colleague of mine, and she served second grade teachers. She had $1 million company serving second grade teachers, right? And so you want to ensure that you are niching down to what your target market is. You are like, well, I'm leaving this person out. Well, if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to no one, right? You want to make sure that you're absolutely selling to the one person. And when I get up here, you know that I'm talking to nurses. When I get up here, you know that now I do coaches, because I can service coaches as well, but a lot of nurses as well. So I want you to drop an N in the chat for niche positioning. Sometimes we get caught up in that we're going to leave people behind if you don't specifically speak to your customer avatar, whoever that is, and you want to be able to understand what keeps them up at night, the reason why they're struggling, right? You want to understand it inherently. And what happens a lot of times is that we don't understand it inherently, what they're going through. A lot of times your customer avatar is usually who you used to be. So sometimes you got to go back and you got to sit in that pain point. You got to sit and understand what they're going through on a daily basis. Like I understand that, nurses in the hospital, they're burnt out and they are struggling to get to where they need to be. And so that's one of the things that you want to understand. Now, the last thing is goals and metrics. Now, again, if you like it, if you're liking this, I want you to like, I want you to share, I want you to comment. Goals and metrics. Now, your SMART goals. Be very clear. SMART is specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, and time bound, right? Now, I don't like attainable. And the reason why I don't like attainable is because people say, well, you don't want to disappoint them, so you want it to be attainable. I don't like attainable. I like for you to say, okay, I can get us to here, right? I can get us to $500,000 a year, but me and the Lord can get to $1 million a year. So if you think that you can get to $500,000 a year, then you want to go here to get to $1 million a year, right? Or to get to $2 million a year, or to get to $3 million a year. You want to be very clear that you need to set the goals high so that what you do coincides with what where you're trying to go, right? And so I want you to drop in the chat high, okay? So that you can make high goals. Drop it in the chat high. Now, you want to look at your key performance indicators. And this is one of the things that I've seen that people have struggled with because they don't understand the key performance indicators. You want to understand how many sales are you making? How many sales are you making per month? How many sales are you making per week, right? How much is your lead cost? Like whenever you're doing ads, you want to understand what your lead cost is. Client acquisition costs, like how much does it cost you to capture a client and get your client to where they need to be, right? And the cost of your marketing. Now, this helps you to make informed decisions, not emotional decisions, because a lot of times people are like, business sometimes can be hard, right? Just like nursing can be hard, right? It's just like anything that you do can be hard. It can be hard. And so sometimes you want to cry. And that's okay if you cry, but you want to make your decisions not based off of emotion, but you want to make your decisions based off of metrics, right? So decisions based off of metrics. Remember that. Remember that in your head. You want to make decisions based off of your metrics. What you do now, you will probably see the results over the next 100 days, right? So you want to make sure that you are understanding that. And consistency, right? You want to make sure that you're consistently showing up. I want you to write a C in the chat for consistency. Let me tell you something. This thing right here it can be rough, right? And so you want to make sure that you are being consistent with wherever you're going. Hey, Tiffany. And then the last thing, which is a bonus, is sales. Now, your customer will show up like you show up. If you show up and you are, first of all, we believe in the high ticket method, okay? Just to let you know that. Now, when you believe in the high ticket method and you show up hemming and hawing about, well, I'm not thinking that I'm going to do this, right? I'm not sure, right? And however you show up is how your client shows up. And so you want to ensure that you are doing, it's the law of reciprocity, right? And you want to understand that the law of reciprocity says that, what you put out is what's coming back to you, right? It's you reap what you sow type of situation. You can't imagine somebody else paying high ticket for their product and then you are not paying, high ticket for yours, right? There's certain rooms that you get in. It's different. It's a different space. It's a different level of thinking with high ticket coaching. Okay. And you want to ensure that you're showing up and you're showing up like you should. So again, I ask that you share this content. I want you to ask me any questions. Ask me questions in the comments so that whenever I come back, if you have something that you want me to cover and things that you would like to see, just drop it in the chat and I'll be glad to cover it on our next live. So we're coming back next week at 5:30 and we're going to have a good old time. So I look forward to seeing everyone.